Good morning and happy Wednesday to everybody on Quasar Markets Live. Your host, Howard Greenberg, here, and happy to be joined by my main man, Big Beat Stephen Orr. How are you doing today, Steve?
Good, Hondo. I think we both got the memo today for blue shirts, so I think we're good today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a blue kind of day, I guess. Speaking with that, we got to get right into it, right? Save. Down 63% here on news. They're probably going to declare bankruptcy in the last week or so. And I'm going to give you the floor because, you've been talking about this for months.
Yeah, it's November the 13th. I can't wait for January 20th. Lena Khan will probably be gone by then. Ginser, I don't even think he's going to make it through December. He's already persona non grata. That's Latin for not welcome. And also, look, it's very simple. We just saw it again yesterday where the FCC does not want to have mergers and acquisitions in a time when we should be doing mergers and acquisitions. They're stopping everything. It's just stupid. And stop it. The world has to change. We've got to grow. We've got to get bigger. Companies come and go. If I told you the name Bethlehem Steel, you wouldn't even most people wouldn't even know what
Right?
Bethlehem Steel was. That was the largest company on planet Earth, and it also went away. Right? I get it. We don't want the old days of the 1900s where there were just megalithic companies where there were no other places to go to work. That's not what's happening here. And this silliness that's happening at the FCC is beyond recognition. And I'm looking forward to the new administration coming in. And that's me saying that, right? That's
Right?
that's a big deal. So I feel like that this nuttiness is about to go away. There is literally no reason because JetBlue is coming in, increasing their routes, wanting to move people around all over the world and using their planes, big seats. They've got all the fun things that people are actually scrambling for, and it made sense with JetBlue and Spirit Airlines. Now, just because a company's in bankruptcy doesn't mean that the stock goes away. It could very well come. It could be. It's not in receivership yet. So
Right?
look, this could be an opportunity to protect. They're just filing for bankruptcy protection. Let's see what happens. It's not Chapter 11. It could be Chapter 7 here. And that could be a good play here. I don't know. I'm not willing to throw my own good hard money at it. Um, but let's be honest, it could be if the roll the dice here, if you really wanted to roll some dice and see if you can hit it. I don't believe in gambling in the markets. I believe you think that if the world's going to change. Now it's going to change in 2 months, and then that's what's
Right.
going to happen,
Question, I
right?
guess, is can they hold on? And my takeaway, is how was this better for consumers, right? They said the JetBlue merger was no good because it would consolidate too much of, the low cost airlines. It would basically remove one from the market. Well, it just got removed from the market, and, everybody's a loser now. So I guess unless you were
Right.
shorting it, and I guess, maybe the FTC and their families were shorting the stock this time. So that's what worries me there. Yeah, $1.20. You start to think about breakup costs and all that. I don't know enough about the company to know if it's worth that. And it doesn't seem like anybody really running to the door to bail them out. So we'll see what happens there. Let's go down to some good news. Bitcoin 89 again, back over 89,000, holding up strong here. Again, even the staunchest of skeptics seem to be jumping to the Bitcoin side. That starts to worry me a little bit. But I know there's so much money on that side right now, still on the sidelines, that haven't gotten into it. The amount of boomers that don't have any connection to it. You see it in the ETFs. I mean, the ETFs, it's crazy what they're bringing in on a daily basis.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it reminds me of Mahatma Gandhi's quotes, right? First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. I think that's the key, right? Then, of course, at some point, then they join you and they buy crypto
Yeah,
too.
I mean, I mean, just for reference, that's almost another $1 billion, $800 million. I just pulled up here. I'll pull it on our screen
Yeah.
here for everybody. This is just the chart by day that shows you the inflows or outflows, And since the election, we're averaging, the lowest day was, right around 300 million in inflows, and we've had 2 days over $1 billion in inflows. So that's $1 billion of buy pressure in the market, even though it's done on the OTC. That's got to come from somewhere. And what happens is that replenishing that's happening at these OTC exchanges is happening in the open marketplace. So that's what we're seeing. It's why I'm still in my long position. I am using Matthew Tuttle's BTCL, the 2X long version there, to play that. It's been working out really well for me, and that's where I'm in right now, and I won't take it off. I'm looking for that run to 100 like you called. I think it could, it definitely could come sooner than later here.
Oh, you're
Everything.
you're now saying Bitcoin to 100,000
Oh,
now?
I said that the other day to you that I jumped to
Yeah.
your side. Yeah, once I saw these inflows weren't stopping, and then you started to see and again, part of that reason is there's a 2 to 5% premium being paid for Bitcoin on that OTC market. So that tells you that add 5%, that gets you to 95, right?
Yeah.
So I know that once it breaks some of these psychological hurdles, once we get above 90 and the first real pump through it, that will take us to that 93, 94. Then, again, we'll get over that 95. You'll see the next one. So I do think that, yeah, I'm staying long right now in that, in that I hadn't sold any recently at all. So I've been pretty long, since 55.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the key for me has been the same as you. I have continued to just stack sats the whole way through, maybe trading a little bit to add some here and there on dips and buys. But man, I am just smiling all the way to my crypto bank, no longer the regular banks anymore. And I think that's part of it. I no longer, that money that is in my crypto stash is no longer going to ever go back into my bank. So I think that's a key too as well, that you're starting to see now that a lot of people are using their phone as their own personal bank for crypto. There we
Right?
go, Howard. 89.8 again
There you
on
go.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, trying to get a run here.
Do we
The other one that I have
90,100
to
is
say is same boat is Nvidia. We've talked about it, and why I'm saying that is I don't know if you saw the news that SoftBank has announced that they're going to be using the Blackwell chips, purchasing a large amount. They didn't give the exact
yeah.
figure, but a large amount to build Japan's largest supercomputer for AI. So to me, again, that says you know, we've underestimated probably what people are going to use when it comes to Blackwell, and we had some pretty lofty expectations from analysts. So I got to be honest here. I am very bullish on Nvidia today. I think you could see it start to spike up here. So one I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on today.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking about Blackwell chipsets for NVIDIA for a long time. I think I spoke on Schwab Network not too long ago about the Blackwell chipsets. I did my homework on them, and yeah, what's interesting there with NVIDIA was that there was a little bit of I wouldn't say too much of a blur, but in a way that they had to slow it down, a little bit of a delay. They had some little bit of issues, but they're back on track, and those chipsets are on fire. Like these people are just literally using them, and they can't even keep them in stock because AI is that machine that's needing it, right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, in 5 years from now, we'll look at Blackwell chipsets as if they're like Intel
In
chipsets
our
from the old days.
computers, yeah. Hey,
Right.
sticking with
So,
Intel, you gave me this perfect segue there. Chips Act, right,
yeah,
is in the news for sure. Biden is going to try to get that money out, or has basically said he is going to get that money out in the next
yeah,
30 days. A lot at stake there when it comes to that because it's a huge stockpile of money, and a lot of thoughts that if he doesn't do that, Trump would come in and not give the money out. So it's something we'll definitely keep an eye on. Intel, 30 billion. We've been talking about how much they were going to get out of this. It was $30 billion. So they
yeah.
definitely.
And I don't really understand why Trump's against this because Intel is a U.S. company. So, he says America first. Well, okay. Well, this is an American institution, not just an American company. They've been making chipsets forever. They have chipsets that are in Apple. as well as in Windows. So there's a good opportunity here to save, and not only save it, but to make it flourish again.
Yeah,
It
his
reminds
just so you
me.
know, I did the article that I read had his answer to that. Just so I'll give it to you. I don't agree with it. Is his answer is tariffs is the answer. Don't give away our hard-earned money. We just tariff the hell out of the other side, and then American chips win
Yeah,
in that thing.
that
Doesn't
doesn't
work.
work in
I'm with you. I know it was. I knew you were coming
3,000
after me.
years. Yeah. It's never worked in 3,000 years of the people being on the planet. You just can't tear up somebody. They get angry about things. You call yourself free trade, but you're not really free trade. So I don't understand it, but okay. It's never worked. We know that. Any half-wit economist knows that tariffs do not work. If you do it for temporary reasons, maybe you don't want flooding of dishwashing machines coming in the country. Okay, that's different. That's not a tariff. That's slow ban. I understand that. That's a different situation. But to just throw taxes on everything because that's what we're gonna
Right.
do,
No, and hopefully it's
it
just a
doesn't work. Never
negotiating.
worked.
Right. Hopefully it's a negotiating act like we've seen people from his,
Yeah, no, I don't care. Yeah, that's
Lutnick
fine.
and others say there. For me it's a big deal because a lot of that's meant to come here to Ohio. The Ohio plants are 3,000 jobs here. So, the 10 Ohio trade groups, join the Chamber of Commerce and pressure the White House to get this money out. Like I said, you can Intel is meant to get 20 billion for their increases in Columbus, New Mexico, Arizona, and Oregon. So a bunch of areas across the U.S. that would be beneficiaries from it. Micron was the other ones that was going to get a decent amount. I think there was TSM,
I'm
believe it or
just
not.
hearing
Was
now,
one.
Howard, General Motors is going to recall more than 461,000 vehicles
Oof.
over a transmission issue, according to NHTSA.
That's never good to hear. Never good to hear that. Um, so yeah, so chips, and with that being said, only Nvidia and TSM are really up in the chip sector today. Everybody else sort of negative. Did notice that ASX, one of the smaller market cap ones, and when I say smaller market cap, I think these were all over, $20 billion. ASE Holdings up about 3% here. So something there. Didn't see any news, so we'll keep an eye out on that.
I mean, just take a swing at Save would not. I mean, this morning I got below $1, right? I mean, that's just, woof. Um, yeah, wow.
And
Let's
we've
see.
seen that a lot of these, declaring bankruptcy companies have gotten some plays out of the Reddit and Wall Street Bets people, right? Bed Bath and Beyond was a big one that did it for a while, right?
I will take a swing at this. I think Howard. I think I might buy some Save here.
You're gonna do it before the market opens, or you're gonna wait for the market to open here?
I'm looking at it now. We'll see.
Okay. I did notice, Steve, that the Treasury yields were going down after the CPI readings today, so that's good to see. 10-year now at 4.365, so down about 1.5% from the highs we saw yesterday. Pre-market trading, we've got a decent amount of sectors that are up in the spider sector funds. Utilities up almost a point here. Consumer staples up slightly. Seeing consumer discretionary. Seems like the big play right now tends to be retail sales. I've noticed too. E-commerce and retail sales going into the holiday season seem to have people a little bit interested here.
I think I'm gonna wait, Howard. I want to see how the morning plays out with Save a little bit.
Okay. Like I said, I am in BTCL. Been in up about 13 or 14% in it already, but I'm gonna let that run here. I'm
What's it
waiting
gonna
for
take to get Bitcoin over that 69.9?
that
That
89.9. You mean?
I mean 89.9. I know we hit 90,100
It's
yesterday,
gonna,
but
yeah, it's gonna take. Well, what it is it what took it there yesterday. It's gonna be the liquidations that send that final bit to get it high enough above that it doesn't come back immediately below on a wick. That's what we're
Yeah,
gonna
but
need.
here's
We're
the
gonna need
thing.
a close. What my answer is I don't know the impedance that will get us there, but I'm gonna tell you when we're there when we see a nightly close over 90, and then that's when we tend to see it.
Okay.
I know the market never closes, but people tend to look at UTC time. And it
Yeah.
just seems to be true. When we see that holds, as you know, I was looking for that when we were trying to get above 70 again, right? We needed to have that close above
Yeah,
70.
but for me, Howard, I think the question is, at 90,000 or 90,100, the highs, that means every single person on the planet is now in profit for Bitcoin. Does that hinder them to get to the 100,000
It
or?
never has. Like it should. In most cases, yes, but it's the biggest momentum trade out there.
Okay.
And, too many people don't want to, like I say, don't fade the you say don't fade the Mickey, right? I say don't fade the Musk. I also say don't fade Bitcoin when it's got momentum behind it. Don't look like at RSI and say, well, it's RSI's at 92, we're in trouble. No, I've seen it hug 98 for a month and a half in 2020.
Right. Right.
So it's, yeah, I mean, if you look at the RSI right now, it's just insane. But, to me, I look at this and that's definitely a clear breakaway. We break above that 9100 90. Well, actually, what is it now? Yeah, 9250, and forget it. It's going to go. You've seen these, they're not small moves. Again, I stopped doing the measured moves because it's just too far through them. You're at like your seventh move from that low back
And the VIX
on.
is making another new low here of 1557 now on the U.S. stocks. So wow, and WTI crude oil below 68 handle again, and the dollar right around 106 again, 105.91. I mean, this is prime pickings for the market. This is not normal. When you think gold is still high, the markets are still high, the crypto is high, your
Right.
mama's
So would you
jewelry is
look at
high.
USO now, Steve, or one of the other oil funds here?
It's been an easy play the whole time. Usually anything under 68, you buy USO.
That's what I
But
mean. You nailed it, I think, twice already on the show. That's why I'm asking here.
yeah, looking at oil, the difference between the United States and Saudi Arabia pumping right now is the highest level. The U.S. is pumping oil at the highest, fastest level ever, and Saudi Arabia is pumping it in the last 30 years, lowest level. So, you know, they've already switched gears. The United States is back to, I don't know. Here we go back to the old days, I guess. But look, we've said this from the get go. We've said this since the 1970s that in oil, it's cheaper to buy it in Saudi Arabia and use their oil and pay it from them at $30 a barrel. That time it was 20, 15, 20, $30 a barrel. Even at some point that was back, believe it or not, $8, $9 and $10 a barrel. Today we talk about 60 to 100. But when you look at it from the perspective of all the oil wells that we have, drilled, put a bow tie on it and a number, we're starting to pull those up out of the ground now, and it's easier for us to bring rigs and derricks right over to where the old holes were, and to do that again. So that may be what we're looking at doing. I don't see as drillers. I don't see those driller numbers come out on Thursdays, as we all know. But I don't see that happening. I don't see drilling happening, but I do see derrick moves. So if that's the case, there are companies out there that do that services. And good old Halliburton, all right, HAL.
Yeah.
Halliburton is the company that does that, and Halliburton now trading at around $30 a share too as well. If you look at a 1 hour chart on Halliburton HAL, that company, quite frankly, it's got a, I don't know, 52-week high. There's 41.56
56,
and
yeah.
a low of 27.26. So there's a good chance here that Halliburton could come back during the Trump administration here, so the new administration. But
It's a good 50% upside towards its highs that it was at.
you can also look at another company called OIS, Oil States International. If you're looking for a cheaper play, OIS, $5.40 on that one. This is a stock that can easily get to $7 or $8 a share, especially if that's what we're moving to. Yeah, 89.8 again on Bitcoin here. It's trying to go, man. Yeah, there's another drop here in oil now, 67, 63. I kind of want to look at USO again today.
Yeah, I just put myself a little note. You'll see on the line here, I got it on the daily chart looking at support level. I'd ask you about the 69.22. I think if it hits back towards that level, I kind of like it.
And you can make it easier on yourself if you wanted to do the ultra funds and just trading it. You can do the UCO, which is what I usually do. It's the big Bloomberg crypto, or Bloomberg crude oil fund that usually coincides pretty neck and neck with oil.
Oh yeah, tracked right with that.
And we're very close. We're 2503. 2288 would be the low, and 3651 would be the 52-week high. So we're near the lows of the day on the fund. So
I would say here, yeah, here I'm kind of looking at that 24.15 area where it wicked down to here on October 29th, and again found support here in end of September.
Remember that WTI is West Texas Intermediate, so this is U.S. oil. We're talking about U.S. oil, and so we are pumping quite a bit of U.S. oil. So,
yeah. And we got to refill that SPR at some point.
80, almost 90,000 here. We're making a run.
89,960. Here we go.
It's
a good start. It's a good start. Let's see what's happening with the rest of crypto. It looks like crypto in general. Doge up another 7% there, Steve. Your SHIB up 1.8%. Cardano up a little bit, around 57 cents. You and I were talking XRP at about 70 cents. I did say if that breaks $1, I'll probably scale down my position there. I went pretty deep in after the lawsuit. There, I just had it sitting on a wallet forever. So I will take a look there because that was down about 20 cents. So I've made a good profit.
89.8. So it's really struggles with that 89.9 handle, huh? 89.7. So again, I have to reiterate, what is it that's going to push us over this hump here at 90,000?
It's going to be the boomers. It's just going to be more it's going to be the ETF. It's going to be that. That's going to do it. Yeah. It's just going to take, if we see inflows for a couple of more days, you're going to see that next jump. Just like, remember, Steve, you were just asking me the other day, what is it going to take to get us back to 73?
That's right.
I got to slow people's roll sometimes. It's 73 was its all-time high a week ago, Steve. Sorry that I'm disappointing you, and we're struggling to hold above 80.
I'm looking at my crypto pile, so I'm not too disappointed.
I mean, I noticed that Jimmy Buffett's house in Key West sold. Was that you selling some of your crypto the other day? $6 million worth? I saw a blurb.
No, it's not. It's definitely not me. But
I can't imagine the profit on that place. It said he bought it like in the mid 70s.
All the stories that place could tell, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. 89.65. It is. It's 90 where you see that sell off, because there are people, again, in my degenerate, highly leveraged scalping days, I would just be playing this, sell it at 90 and then pick it back up at 88 and do it again, and keep doing that with 10x leverage, and it works.
And it seems that the 10x, 100x, 300x leverage is just not. They're not playing right now because
they're there, but there's not. They can't move the needle enough. Like, in other words, First of all, a lot of that's like people like myself that are using BTCL to do it, so that's a purely synthetic play. But also you have all of these ETFs in plays. Now you're going to have options on these ETFs. It's interesting to me. I noticed that, IBIT got approved for options like a month ago, but I haven't seen them get listed yet anywhere. So I don't understand what the holdup there is, because I noticed that BTCL that I trade, they just got options and was listed like the next day when they got approved.
Well, I mean, the team that does that at the SEC might be changing pretty soon. So
yeah. Well, but I wondered, is that more of a waiting for the LP, for the liquidity providers or something that works with that too?
It could be.
Because let's face it, the volume on a BTCL is like 2 million a day, where the volume on IBIT is 80 million a day. So
wow.
That's why I wanted to ask you. I wasn't sure. I just noticed it was taking a while. I meant to hit up our friend Mr. Bauer there and ask him that question, because
run here.
It's trying, yeah, 89.8. I got it up. I'm watching here, buddy. I am definitely watching. We are about 5 minutes away from the open here. Steve, I'll put you on the box. What do you think we see today? I think now we're going to see a very green day. It looks like the market's bent up.
You're
Two
100%
days of 2 days of sitting on the sidelines. I think people are sitting there ready to hit those buttons today.
Well, we're still seeing some more dump in the bond market, and that bond market dump, that money has to go somewhere.
Somewhere.
There's just way too much cash on the sidelines to continue this, and I don't know, but at some point Warren's going to move into big whale
Something.
buying. He's going to go whale hunting at some point, and he's not a happy camper about the election. Let's put it that way. And I think he saw that coming, and I think he started selling. But his cash pile is a little bit different than most people's cash piles, and so
Oh
and his
yeah,
is at
he
the
could
highest
buy.
level.
I think it was that he could buy out of the S&P 500. He could buy like 100 of them or something ridiculous like
Buy them
that.
out, yeah,
Yeah,
right. I
just
mean,
buy them all. Like I'll just take this 100. There you
he
go.
could buy like 20 or 30 Disneys without even batting an eye and just say thank you, Mr. Mouse. And that's kind of the thing that why is he on the sideline so heavily like this? Why is he nervous? And people made fun of him the last time he did it, and of course that was .com when he raised his kind of cash, and it all went to hell. So look, don't discount Mr.
So I have
Mr.
a couple of questions with that. So first of all, I've pulled Mitsubishi Financial Group up on the screen because I have some questions there because I didn't realize that a lot of these names that I've been talking about, these Japanese trading houses, are available on the
Sure,
NYSE.
sure.
Is part of this, that his main man, Charlie Munger, who he bounced most of these ideas, and they say, that he was the main confidant for most of his decisions. With him passing away, do you think maybe he just, doesn't want to pull the trigger, can't, hasn't found that person he trusts to give him the contrarian to his play or something? I mean, I wonder how much that has to do with it also.
Could be. A lot of times when you start to see investments in foreign countries, there's a bigger reason for it. In the case of Warren Buffett, the last time he made big buys into BYD, which was the and Tata, the electric vehicle startup over there,
Yeah.
which did very well. And he wasn't just doing that; he's also investing in India itself. So you saw things. So he might be investing in Japan. Japan's a good time to buy. Looking at foreign countries. It's a great time to buy in Japan. They're down, and they're wow. Here we go, Hondo. Are we going to break it here now on Bitcoin?
I'm sorry, I moved away to it. I was in Japan there
Um,
for a second.
I will tell you that one thing that I am looking at, if you want to look at the financials, is Mizuho.
I
That
just
is
had that
one
up.
that I'm definitely MFG for those of you out there playing the game. MFG is one that I am very interested as a company. I think they've got some movement going on. It's news this morning, but Mizuho MFG could be one of those players that is in this game here. Something's up at Mizuho. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, Mizuho Sumatomo, however you say that one. That's the other one that he has a big stake in because he does. That's where a lot of his money is right now.
90,000 just hit now, Howard. We're
Dropped
looking for
right off it though.
90,100 is the all-time high on that.
It's trying. Right.
90,000 seems to be sitting right on that border.
It's
There's
going
a
to take the
fight at
liquidation.
90,000.
Do we see the liquidations? Do the degens try to go short here, saying, "Hey, the last 3 days, if I
I
played."
would definitely not be short
Oh,
this
I
morning.
wouldn't, but this is what they do. Well, and what you have is the Johnny come lately. So for 3 days, people have been on, crypto Twitter saying, "Look what I did. I sold at 90. I bought back at 80, 86. I sold back at 90 again. I bought back at 84." And now that will continue to try. And what happens here is they go short at 90 and it blusts through. That's what happened with that 80 level right here. You can see it. I
But
mean,
their little money isn't going to be the company that puts this through, right? I mean, you see what
Because
Michael
it gives you that 3% that you need. If we get again 3% above 90K, it doesn't usually come back down. It gives you that room to return, and that
got
flips. What you're doing is you're flipping resistance into support. You got to get far enough above it, as you know. You can't just wick above it. You got to hold above it. You know, I'll just keep saying the same thing for that. Gold getting a little bit of a run here today, up about a half a point. Same thing with silver, trying to get back above that 31 handle.
90,020 now. Here we go. Oh, right back.
Yeah,
right back
come on,
down.
baby. I gotta pull out here, see what BTCL is doing for me here.
All right, we are open here, Howard. I am going to put that save
50.
up on my screen now.
Take a look at it.
Keep my
Okay,
eye on it.
I'm with you there.
118 now. Yeah, 118, 120.
Can't hold that 90 like you said there, Steve. Let's see down here.
SAVE.
123 right now, 125. I'm going to pull up the short-term chart here, not a minute. I'm going to turn this into a 3-minute.
122. Obviously, this is a lower price, 119.
119.
There it is, 90,300. We just blew through there.
Nice. See, you got me watching save. $1.20.
All right, I am putting
90,200. I love it.
I have an order in to buy save at 120. We'll see. 90,500 there. Did I hit it?
Like I said, there you go. 93, 94. Got to hold here. This is going to send it. Here you go, Steve.
90, there it goes.
90,005. See, the liquidations. You doubted that could do it. I told you. That's what takes us that little way. Those people that bet the wrong side, and that keeps us. Now we got to hold above 90 here.
I am in save now at 120.
Okay, let me write that down here. Save 120 at 9:32. Okay. Already up to 125. Steve, do you have a take profit on this yet? Do you?
I haven't yet because I think we may go. There's 126. I might. This is a 126, 125. Anything that any news? 127 now. I am
128.
128 now. Yeah, I probably should take some.
130, Steve. 130 here.
Yeah. Let me just see what I got here.
130. I'll tell you what, though, it hasn't even. If it breaks, Steve, if it breaks this, I mean, you can see it. This 136, it's got room all the way up to 150. I'd be looking more to trailing stop here than a take profit. Did it get halted?
No.
Nope, there it goes. It's going up 132, Steve. Telling you, break this 135 right here. Look at this, Steve. It's going. You got it, baby. Watch this 135, 137 area here. 135, 137 area. Bitcoin 9,800, Steve. 9,800. Here we go, baby. Let's have some fun here. Come on, baby. BTCL now at, why is it $50.91 there? I got into that at $40.64. 133, Steve. 133. See if the volume slows down here. Man, if it gets through that one.
Oh, wow. 91,000 just hit on
like
Bitcoin.
I said, yep. It's just flying here. I am now
134 now. 134. Did I get lifted at 135? Let me look. I did not get lifted at 135.
135. Here it goes. 136. Yes. 135. Nice move. Let's see it. 137.
Yeah, I'm in at
137. Let's see, 137, Steve. Let's see if it runs here. Let's see if it runs.
I'm out.
I know you're out for 137. I'm not in it, but I think it does here. It breaks this 137. It goes right here. It's going to go from 138 to 160 in no time if it breaks through here. 138. It's trying, Steve.
Does anybody else play that out there for save? I think
that was a great one. That was a great one there, Steve. Bitcoin 90,900 here. 90,900. Ethereum now 32.79. up another percentage point here.
Do you realize we are less than 9,000 points away from 100,000? When you and I were talking about it at 55, I said we're going to 100,000. I wasn't kidding around,
Yeah,
and here we go. So I think for those playing at home, wow, 91,000 again. There it is, Howard.
yeah.
Sakes. It went to 91 too, but that might be a little tougher here now.
Yeah, you're gonna well because you're gonna see the same thing. Now it starts to resettle, and we'll get into a trading range for the day. Let's see, because it has to break 91 to probably 91 250 here to get its next run up. Anything else would just be a wick back
I
up.
just would not be short this market.
Oh no, I'm not.
It's
You're not.
too
You're
strong.
speaking to the choir here. I'm very heavy into BTCL more than I should be, but I'm just gonna put trailing stops on it. Man, it's up 6% today. 96.70. Wow, this is just crazy.
90,500. Could be a little bit of pullback after that run
Again,
up.
we don't get upset at
Stops
pullbacks
out.
here. Let's see what's going on across the markets here. Coinbase up on this news about 2.5%. Not surprising. Robinhood also up almost 3%. Not surprising to see that. Seeing Prologis up 1.66. Looking at stuff in that area. Crypto side, SHIB now up 4.5%. Doge up 8% here, Steve.
90,000.
Doge up
Now below
8%.
90,000. That thing just sold off. On
Yeah, we're gonna
short.
see that. We're gonna see it again. You had that same comment about this time yesterday.
Yeah,
It
I
will
love it.
turn. Yeah.
Believe it or not, Save is now at 145 now.
I said it's going to 160, buddy.
Yeah, it could be. It's on the highs of the day now. If Wall Street Bets gets a hold of that one.
Yeah. JP Morgan having a pretty good day up about 0.64. Big banks, biggest five banks, all up here this morning. Got to get down to the trading houses of Schwab to start to see the losses. Chip companies, Nvidia just flat here today. Most of the chips down. Intel up, not surprising again with that news on the Chip Act. INTC up about 0.8 of a percentage point here. ASX up about 3.5% too.
Fossil
ASX.
fuels are indispensable to the world's energy needs, according to Saudi Arabia's climate envoy, tells CNBC at the COP29 in Baku. Wow. They're still saying oil is definitely needed around the world.
I think we all know that e-commerce having a pretty good day here. Amazon up over 0.5 point. Alibaba, Temu both up. C Limited up. JD up. A lot of the Chinese e-commerce up. Coupang up almost 2.5% here. Chewy up 2%. So seeing a little bit of e-commerce headed into the holiday season. Healthcare looks like it's a mixed bag so far. Nothing really moving too far here. Nothing about a percentage point off. Take a look at hotels. Hotels mostly in the red. Steve, I got one for you. You know what the third largest hotel chain by market cap is?
By market cap, that's a good question. The third largest, huh? So it's not Marriott, it's not Hilton. Radisson?
LVS.
Okay.
Las Vegas Sands. I started to put together these sheets to get some interesting takeaways that I just found. That was one if you had given me 20 choices, I would not have gotten to Las Vegas Sands.
Wow.
Because I also would have thought that MGM and Wynn were bigger. I didn't realize.
Palantir is up 5% here on the highest.
Yeah.
I think it's all-time high here now.
Tesla up another 4% here. Do not fade the Musk. 341.80, Steve. 341.80. That's insane. Meta down another point here today. Google down another point here today. GM, it's surprising. Even with that recall news, Steve, they're up about
Here
one
we
and a half
go.
percent today.
Another run in Bitcoin here. 90,800 here. We could run again here.
Rivian up 17% after the news that Volkswagen has come through and provided the funding that they needed there to stay afloat. So we are seeing that move up about 17% here. AMGN up about 1.66% here. AMGN up about 1.66% after Jeffries gave them a target of $380 a share.
SMCI is saying once again that they will delay their 10K. It looks like their
I thought they had
Q1.
to have a new accountant by this weekend. I had read somewhere. Did
Yeah,
you
but
see
they're now
that?
delaying both Q1 2025 10K and 2024 10K. That's a lot. Now down 2.63%. I don't know if there's much more. Wow, here we go again. Bitcoin 91,000 again. Here we go. 91,060 could hit an all-time high again here. 91,200 is all-time high. They're going for the 100,000 here, brother.
Shh. Be very quiet. Don't wake anybody up.
Are we bunting shorts
So,
here?
how do you think Germany feels today? They
You know,
sold Bitcoin for paper that they print themselves, called their cash.
yeah. 91,083. To me, my bank is now Bitcoin. I've got other banks,
There you go. I
obviously.
love it. I love it. Speaking of banks, that's a good play for crypto. NU Bank, new bank out of Brazil, right? South American bank that is heavily into the digital asset space, but also a spot that Warren Buffett has put money. Trying to run here, Steve. Here it goes. 90,191. Here it goes.
We
Here
are
it goes.
91,020.
91,034.
Yeah, it's
Come
not
on.
going to do it. Probably below 90,000, 91,000 again.
It is
It's
trying.
struggling up there. It's definitely struggling. It is what it is.
I love when you say that. It's struggling at 91,000. Man, that Bitcoin.
Listen, until we get to 100,000,
I
I'm not
just,
going to
I
be
laugh.
happy.
Oh, man. Oh,
Until we get to 100, I'm not happy, Howard.
okay. Okay. Hey, ASTS up 10% here to stay, Steve. ASTS Space Mobile.
Yeah. And I've said this, I can't tell you how many times. Space is going to be is definitely the play, I think, in the future. Lunar, LUNR, up another 6%
They're up
today.
also. I did see that. Yep.
And money is moving very heavily into the crypto space now. So
Yeah, I mean, if you
you know,
look here, I have my crypto watch list. Pretty much everything up. Bitcoin 3.5%, Ethereum about 2, Solana close to 2, Chainlink over
can we do it
2,
here at
SHIB
91,000?
4, Doge 10%.
Yeah. SMCI is still
Mauer
slipping
now
down.
up on the day. Riot, all of the Bitcoin miners in general up. Hut Mining, who had their earnings and blew away their earnings, up 13% here. I want to pull up where their earnings were here. Sorry.
Hearing now that PayPal's USD stablecoin now is using layer 0 to streamline transfers.
Nice.
You want to explain layers to the people?
Yeah. So what was the headline again? Because it said layer 0, which
They're layer 0. Yeah, to speed it up.
so well, I mean that's at the core level of it. Basically, the layer 1 is the layer that Bitcoin or Ethereum actually runs on. And then layer 2 is a scaling solution that works on top of them to allow transactions. The idea is down the road, we won't use Bitcoin's main blockchain to do our thousands and millions of transactions that are going to happen per second when it's the reserve currency of the world. So that's going to happen on a layer 2. Sometimes people say layer 0.
And will there be another layer for microtransactions, even smaller transactions?
Well, there'll just be different options of layer twos that have different
Yeah.
purposes that are built for specific purposes. You know what I mean? Is
And if I were
exactly.
to explain it, I would say Swift is the main banking we have today, and I would say credit cards are the second layer of that. Think of it in that aspect, but maybe not laying it on the Swift network, but to the banking networks, right? Because they in the
Yeah, well, what
parallel.
it is right, exactly, is that when you're dealing with a simple transaction and you're not doing a huge component like with Ethereum using smart contracts, there's no reason for that much information except for that Steve's wallet sent to Hondo's wallet, to Ethereum. It doesn't need to really know anything else. So that information can be done what's called rolled up, and
Say
only,
Vega's dumping here, 126 here.
wow, back down getting hit, huh?
Get back down there, baby. We'll do it again.
MSTR now at 372, Steve. Again, that was what I called that out at $199 about a month ago. Right here, it was
And Intel, even on a day like today, Intel's still up another 0.7%.
October 8th is when it finally broke that 199. That's just insane. I bid up another 1.3.
Fed's Logan now says that the U.S. economic activity is resilient.
I can say, Steve, I would start to be a little bit nervous that some outflows are starting to hit. The reason I say that is that the all of the Bitcoin ETFs are not up as much today as Bitcoin is. So you're starting to see where that usually yesterday that
There
was
they
the
go. The
opposite,
dumping's
remember?
20,600. Yeah, we're starting to see a little bit of dumping here. You're right.
So something to keep an eye on is when I haven't had it. We don't have enough experience on it yet, enough data to be able to say that that's a trend. But what we might start to see is the same way that we used to be able to look and see what the Binance versus Coinbase price of Bitcoin was to see whether the Western Hemisphere or the Eastern Hemisphere were buyers or sellers. We might be able to start to track inflows and outflows by the difference on the increase or decrease to the ETF price versus Bitcoin's price.
That's right. And the crowded trade is definitely to the upside on Bitcoin. But the difference here is there just isn't any Bitcoin to buy. And in order to buy it, you got to buy it from someone else. The exchanges aren't loaded with Bitcoin to be able to buy.
No, that's why this would be so important, these ETFs, because this would actually be outflows. So you'd finally see something going back into exchange and lessening that, that's exactly why it's been a one-way up, so to speak.
And I just would not be on the other side of that, Howard. I
Yep.
can't see myself selling my Bitcoin right now. It's just,
No.
and I
No,
love to
and,
trade.
and that's the other part, like you said, is, all these people are a profit. Is anybody that was waiting for it from the last time it hit
Fed Logan
70.
just says that he anticipates more Fed cuts. So I am looking at this from a perspective that we might see a cut in December here.
That would be a surprise because, it had sort of swung to they were not
So
going
looking
to.
at the CME Fed Watch tool,
Yeah,
let's pull that up,
that's what
Howard,
I'm
if you
doing.
can. Yeah. Wow. I was still looking at 82.3% here. So it looks like 25 basis point cut coming
Yep.
December now.
Yeah, that's now at 82.3%, which is pretty much up almost 25% since yesterday. So that definitely has changed. CPI seems to have, that's what's buoyed the market. So is, I guess, the expectation that the Fed will cut again. IBIT is trying to get to a new all-time high here. So now it is trying to catch up. So, and
91,000
Bitcoin
again.
back
Here
at
we go
91. Yeah,
again.
you could see that because it was going back up. I saw IBIT all of a sudden head towards its all-time high. That's what I had on the screen. Got Bitcoin on there now. I mean, I would have to, let's see here. Pull off those fibs because they don't matter anymore. Let's set a fib level here for this last move up since Tuesday. Wow. I mean, it's crazy because I mean, you're still extremely bullish at anything above 85,682 here.
And the dollar breaking above 106 again, 106.12 now.
We do
So
have
wow,
Steve
there you go.
Flanagan coming in here in about 10 minutes. Definitely going to hit him up, ask him about
Yeah,
that.
the
Where
tick
to
just fell out of bed there. So 91,000
91
is
again. It's
here we
trying. Like
go.
I said, man, it just does not stop. Doesn't want to stop yet.
Tick now down 500 now. Money's coming out. Maybe money's coming out of the stock market here, going into Bitcoin.
Yeah. I mean, 91, it's holding that now pretty well. I mean, we're
91,040 now. They're
holding
trying to break
91.
here. Now remember, 91,203.63 is the high here. Okay, here we go. 91,080, 91,081, 80, 92, almost getting there again.
Yeah, man.
91,100.
Doesn't want to stop yet. It does not
150.
want to stop yet. That's for sure.
91,174. We're about to break the all-time high again today. Another all-time high coming.
91,
150.
150, yeah.
160, 189. Let's go.
Come on, baby. I mean, it's just can't stop, won't stop.
Bank of America just now raised Salesforce target to 390 from 325.
Wow.
Wow.
That should send that going.
CRM.
Yeah.
91,370, 380 now. All-time high on Bitcoin. 91,400. We are on our way, baby, to 100,000. 91,500 now is now the high.
Salesforce looks like it wants to move on that news.
91,600.
343, 34. Tell you what, on this short-term chart, this CRM could be a breakout play right here.
You heard
About
it here
to break
first.
through VWAP. It's CRM. You just called it. Let's see what happens. 343.35 here. I think it wants to make a run back to 345, and if it gets through that, watch out above.
That is a bullish call from them on that.
Let's see what happens here.
91,700 now. 715's the high. 720, 36.
You can't even keep up. Steve, calm down. Calm down. 91,750, baby.
Reminds me of my days on the floor, baby. I love this stuff.
This is great. Look at that sucker run. Okay,
So we got a 92,000 today. Another new high now, 91,910 now on Bitcoin. So now we got to break 92,000. So Saylor and company, are they buying today?
Yeah, yes. Yes, he's buying every day. I mean, that's just an everyday. He's going to buy 42. He's going to buy.
Another new high on Bitcoin, right?
And it's about to pump right here again. I told you.
91,000.
There it goes. Here goes 92, Steve. It's coming in. 92. Come on. Are you not entertained yet? 91,630.
Gladiator right now.
I mean, this is just.
Still pushing here. 91,800. So 91,957 is the all-time high, which just happened 2 minutes ago. Here we go again. Let's see if we can break it. I think they're going to do it. There's just nothing on the exchanges to buy, and if you want to buy crypto, you've got to pay up for it. Hey, it just hit another.
There it goes. There it goes. Yeah, I mean that's what it is. Is that you just don't have enough out there. Look at this, Doge up 14% now.
There's no ceasefire.
Is Doge going to go to $1, Steve? 43 cents.
It could very easily go to $1. Yes, I mean you're seeing the administration accepting crypto, and you're seeing that
Hut Mining now up 19%. BTDR, which is BitDeer, another Bitcoin mining company, up 17% here.
And you look, I see WTI now 67.11, low of the session here now. So I'm going to be looking at UCO here as well. 24.61 now, down 2.5%. So I am that is interesting to me. Now we're getting closer and closer now to a breakout there to the downside. I do think that the Bitcoin thing might be slowing down now after this nice run. We're about to break 67 handle here on WTI 67.10 now. Yeah, I think Bitcoin's run here might be stalling out at 92. Yeah, there we go. 91.6, 91.5, no, 91.4. I have a pretty good feeling that was a nice run there. So that was fun. I
Hey,
enjoyed.
listen, I don't
We're
think it's
not done
over
yet. I
yet.
don't.
Let's not. Yeah, it's not over yet.
I think that there's a good chance that today that might be the end of it because we're closing in on the 10 o'clock hour here, 1 minute to go, and so um, I think some of those ETFs that we're buying here might have been going in here. Oh wow, the dollar just jumped again, 106.30 here. Wow, our dollar is getting stronger and stronger. So maybe it's about time for me to go to the bank and get those yen and francs, huh?
Yeah, that's what we'll find out from Mr. Flanagan here in a few minutes. We're at 25.32 now. Wow. I just broke 28. Man. Bitcoin back down at 91,500.
Yeah, okay, let's see another pump. I can see another pump right here. But I think the volume, yeah, the volume is slowing up a lot here. The buyers have slowed up a bit here as well. Um, I'm just not, yeah. I'll say it, Howard. I think that the Bitcoin run this morning pump is pretty much slowing up.
Yeah, we will see. It did take the same type of move back about an hour ago, so we will see what it does here today. I don't think it's all done yet. I think you'll see another move this
I think
afternoon.
I think you're going to see a change in Congress as well. I think you're going to see many members on the Democrat side as well starting to come over to the crypto side too as well.
Well, we saw Brian Armstrong talk about it. Over 260 or so of our, congressmen are what we consider to be pro crypto. Bitcoin trying to run here again now, Steve. Trying to move back up towards
It is. I'm
92.
watching. Trust me.
Delta up a nice 1.69%. CrowdStrike now at that 352 handle, so that really took off there.
And I'll be happy to be wrong about this pump. Or if we don't push back up, but
Absolutely.
I think we're pretty much at the end of this pump, though. To be honest, with Doge now up 13% on the day. um, Albemarle up 6%. CrowdStrike up 2 as well, 2.5%. And of course, not going with this run here is Apple down on the day, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, and silver is flat on the day. So you know what's going on. The money on the sidelines is moving into crypto. I think that's what you're seeing.
MSTR now 7% here on the day. Nike turned positive here today. SMCI 2164. Tesla's lost a little bit of its move up here today.
Okay, Howard, I might definitely be wrong here. 91,800. There could be a run here. I don't.
I just don't
Not.
mention it.
I don't. Look, we've had a pretty good run here in Bitcoin today. I'm looking forward to seeing Steve Flanagan talking about the Dixie here at 106.24. I think one of the questions I'm going to ask him is, "Hey, Steve Flanagan, should I go run out to my bank and go get my yen and francs for January now, or should I hold off even more?"
Yeah,
But
we've got a lot of questions for our man, Mr. Flanagan, here this morning. I'm sure that he's on his way back from his Bitcoin bank himself this morning. Getting that all in order.
It's,
Give me one
he's
second. I'll get him
definitely
in.
the person I want to talk to today. So
Yeah,
And
I mean
so let's see.
Dixie's moving up like it's part of the crypto.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting is money flowing from international into the United States, and you're seeing oil just absolutely get crushed again today. So I just 67.02 now. We just blew through 67 handle here. 66.98 now on WTI. So I am thinking about buying UCO here. I'm probably going to do it tonight now.
Okay.
24.56 now on UCO. I'm going to buy a little bit of it here, not go crazy here. And I'm going to buy a small position, 1,000 shares here, not much. So just enough to start that position. And
So
I
guys, you
am
do hear that here. Steve is buying UCO down here.
okay. I am in UCO now. 24.56 is now where I'm at the first position. 24.56 on UCO, and yeah, I'll just. This is going to be one of those positions I don't play until tomorrow. I'm just going to leave it overnight because I think that oil will bounce back. Yeah, we're at 67 handle here again. So I just look. I get it that OPEC is at the COP conference, but they're still pumping, and seeing the divergence of U.S. oil to Saudi oil, the amount that's being pumped out of the ground is huge. There you go, baby. 24.60 now back on UCO.
There
So
you go. Okay, well
yeah, I
let's
had a
transition in here and bring in our man, Mr. Currency himself. There he is, Stephen Flanagan. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Nice to have a front row seat to listening to you guys doing the play calling for the Bitcoin.
I know,
You know,
man. We told
I
you.
just I just want to emphasize one thing. The average daily volume turnover in Bitcoin in a 24-hour period is about $32
yeah,
billion dollars
Oh yeah.
versus the currency markets that's about $7.5
right.
trillion dollars. So I get it. I watching it. I'm involved in the Bitcoin play, yes, but I think we have to keep in mind that this is a marketplace with a very restricted
Yeah.
supply, and of course, supply and demand is what dictates, the movement and the price generation. And so, a
Yeah.
lot of this is, I mean, where do you put a top at this?
Well,
It's
I have to look because I don't know the answer to this. But how much U.S. dollar is cash is around the world, right? It's
M2.
it's in the queue, right? So U.S. currency in circulation is currently at levels up to 2.36 trillion, right? So that's a lot of cash out there, but we continue to print dollars. So we don't stop printing. The only way we control that is by not printing, right? We stop printing or slow it down a little bit. Um, Look, there's only 21 million Bitcoin. You're starting to see acceptance, especially in the US government. And some of it's lost, not all of it's mine. We got another about a million too. Is that right? It's still to the mine.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure that number of that. But looking at that, is this a cash grab for Bitcoin and saying, look, there's not enough on the exchanges, and I don't want to FOMO and I don't want to miss out on this?
From my side, absolutely.
I think
That's what you're seeing. Is there's a lot of people, a lot of boomers, a lot of folks at high net wealth individuals who are now opening up their eyes and saying, and remember, it's not just that they're opening up their eyes. They might have wanted this 2 years ago, but they didn't have a vehicle that was easy for them to use and that their accountants understood. Now you have IBIT and these ETFs, and they have rules and regulations, and it's easy for accounting and things that weren't there before. So it opens up that 1%, to a whole lot of money.
Yeah, and Bitcoin just dumped there quite heavily, 90,900, blah, below 91,000. I call the top. I mean, I hate to do that. I did it again. Um, I was like, I think we're done here, and I was right. But I think it's just a pause. I think we go right on back up here in a little bit. Look, when you're at 92,000 at all-time highs, that means every single person on the planet that owns Bitcoin is in profit. And
Yeah.
so some people are going to take some profit. But I think it's dumb to sell right here because, quite frankly, there just isn't enough on the exchanges, and miners can't produce it fast enough. They can't mine it fast enough to get it onto the
Well,
exchange.
because there is no faster. It's not, it only happens every 12 minutes. There's nothing you can
Okay,
do
12 minutes, yeah,
to
right.
speed
So
that up. And every four
And
years
this would
that
be
the amount made every 12 minutes is cut in half.
Yeah.
this would be a cornerstone to why I would talk when we subway in here to the Dixie and the dollar index. There is an element in the world going on which is being played out in a very illiquid market, Bitcoin, and that is the world is looking, going, do we have confidence in the levels of governments to
Yeah.
secure and change, the problem, the course that we're on now in the US? This is a pretty decisive election. Looks like all three houses go in his favor, and policy enactment. You've got two leading industry people moving into government accounting type and looking to streamline your government. So you're looking at the United States with a situation where we are actually looking to cut our budget deficit. Now, headlines right now are
Steve,
saying,
I have to laugh. Come
yeah,
on now. You honestly believe that we're going to cut the budget?
Steve, I think that we will get on a course that puts us into a lower budget deficit
Okay.
projection. I think that there will be a move to address how our deficit, how our the amount of money that we owe is perhaps moved and shifted
All
on
right.
the
So tell me
curves.
how we're going to do
There's
it, Steve. I mean,
well, there's
I've been on
some
the
talk.
budget committee. I understand how money moves around in Congress, and everybody talks a good game. We're going to lower taxes. We're going to cut the budget. We're going to do this and that. And I can tell you, the only time that happened was when I was there in the White House, and that was during the administration, the Clinton administration. It hasn't happened since. We haven't cut the budget anywhere. We've done none of that. And to me, it just feels like a bunch of rhetoric to me.
And Steve, you've got the experience to make that bold statement, and you are correct. And the difference this time around is you have a lot of non-government people in
I
charge.
like that. Okay, you're absolutely right. And you're looking at from a perspective of the new POTUS elect. He is saying that he's going to put different people in power, and I agree with that. But the Christy Nomes of the world of Homeland Security, and this, it doesn't seem like he's putting people in power that really understands government. Now, let's talk about it from that perspective. Do you think the Department of Government Efficiency, the new one, Doge, that Elon Musk is really going to be able to cut the budget? Is he going to know how to do this?
What I think he knows how to do is run a business. And I think if you begin to apply business skill sets to the way the government is run, I think that that's a radical change from the course that we're on, from the course that you have seen through your experience that nobody
And,
has ever
and I'll tell
attempted to
you,
do.
it's interesting when people say that to me, and I go, well, the government is not a business. The government has one rule and one job. That's to spend money. They don't have it. Collect the money and spend. That's all they do. A business is supposed to make a profit. That's the job of the business. So
Right.
the question to me is, hey, are we going to be able to do this in a way that doesn't hurt, poor people? Doesn't hurt people that need these government services to just be okay? Is it is it gonna hurt education? Is it gonna hurt people that we don't really want to see hurt?
You cannot, right? You cannot. Every great nation has to have a safety net
Right.
for its people, and that must be maintained. I think, Steve, that the approach here is when the common sense, finally gets out there, and we move away from headlines, is that we're looking to cut the pace of government increasing spending
Yeah, I agree.
increases. And I think if you begin to do that and you begin to address the way our deficit is, I mean, one of the things that you hear out there as a possible is, what about offering government debt at a lower
Mm,
interest rate? How do you do that? But it has to be backed by convertibility into gold.
Yeah.
okay, okay. Hold on. Let
And
me get this
if
right.
you,
So, are you saying you want to put
yeah,
us back on the gold standard? Okay.
no, no, but I think that a
Yeah.
possibility, Steve, of having maturity, you can take dollars or you could take a gold convertibility. I think that perhaps in this world where the central banks have been record buying in 2022, 2023, and are on pace this year to be record buyers of gold. I think that there's some sensibility to that play out there. Since government entities are large holders of US debt, if you offered them that opportunity, it might help reduce the government
Yeah.
outlays, the
Yes.
spending. So there's a lot of different things. But Steve, the Dixie is exactly what's going on. Why is the Dixie just breaking through levels so
106.50
rapidly?
right
Because
now.
the world,
Yeah, it's about to go
yeah,
to
the
a
world is
52-week
looking at the
high.
Dixie. You've got a situation in Europe where they can't expand fiscal
Right.
spending, and more people are turning, officials are turning to the ECB saying, you've got to lower rates. Our economic stimulus can't come from governments, it has to come from a central bank. But the
Yeah.
central bank is mandated in guiding inflation. There's a lot of problems coming up in Europe here at this crossroad. Who is going to provide the stimulus? If you look at the recent German numbers, they were abysmal. The UK, look at the unemployment number, jumped to 4.3% just this week. And that's, looking backwards, not looking at where it is after a 40 trillion tax increase that's being passed on to
Right.
the country. So there's a lot of problems outside of the US. And I think that that's why, as people are hoping, and we talked to Howard, you and I, hope's not a good one to do,
Yeah.
but they're hoping on Bitcoin. They're hoping on Bitcoin as an alternative investment, and they're hoping that the dollar, maybe this new administration puts things in order in the U.S. Now, Steve's experience would say
I don't
otherwise
see
there, but
Christine Lagarde bending over after she just berated El Salvador about having Bitcoin on their balance sheet. I don't see her going, "Oh, okay, now all of a sudden I just love Bitcoin." I don't see that. She's
No.
old school, and she doesn't really understand digital currency. She doesn't like it, and she's still in charge, right? The old the old lady is in charge, and she doesn't want to change out of that. And to me, it feels like she still has an iron grip on Europe.
definitely. But you've got Mario Draghi in the background, former ECB head, saying we've got to start cutting
Yeah.
rates now. The whole landscape has changed in the last week, is what
And
he
but we've
said.
been screaming it for
And
how long, and they've ignored it, raising rates and raising rates. Oh no, we got to get inflation in check until they went too far. I mean, we know that, right? Quick question, quick 2478 now on UCO. We nailed that 67.34 now on WTI. So I found the bottom there on oil, and I have an order in now to sell there at 2485 now on UCO. So
Nice.
yeah.
So, Steve, I got to
Okay.
ask about the euro here. Now down, dropped way below the levels you and I spoke about even a couple of days ago. Now at 105. Where does this bottom out? Do we go to parity here? Are we going down to this 104.66 area?
103 is going to be a psychological level, somewhere between 103, 104. If you look in your charts and go back, this is the magical level where the European quasi governmental entities that have their entire homes papered in each other's debt, they typically come in and buy the euro at these levels. Now, this, of course, is one of the cornerstones of why I think the euro is going through parity in short order. Because if you look at the Japanese situation back in the 90s and cross ownership of stocks, you have the exact same situation in Europe and cross ownership of each other's debt. And I think that that's going to be a very bad situation. If the euro breaks decisively 103, I think you're going to see, kind of like an avalanche move down to the 2022 lows of 95
So I got to
40.
be in Japan and I got to be in Switzerland in January. Should I just hold off on buying those yen and francs right now?
I think, Steve, that the forecast that I would have right now is similar to in Bitcoin. I don't want to be less picking tops. The yen, a little different because you have the Japanese quasi control of
Yeah.
that currency and they're threatening to intervene. And when they intervene, they come in with several
Yep.
billion all at once. But the euro, I think that it's tough to try to say that the dollar is going to suddenly reverse here because none of the fundamentals would argue for
Okay.
that.
Well, I got to run. I'll leave you with we'll leave you with Howard right now.
Thank you there, Steve.
All
Have a
right.
great
All
day.
the best.
So going with that, yeah, I mean the euro, sterling continuing to lose any momentum here. Also, Mexican peso to the U.S. dollar was another one I was looking at here that looks like it's watch out below here.
Yeah, Mex, you've got the central bank meeting on Thursday, and the expectation is a cut in interest rates from 10.5 by 1/4%. Personally, think they could go 0.5% rather easily, but the 1/4% is on the table. Um, the MEX is weak. Why? Because of the expectations of tariffs
Right.
and the immigration agenda by the U.S. incoming administration. So there's a lot of fluff, but also you're looking at dollar MEX that for 2 years everybody's held MEX for the high interest rate. MEX
Right.
has been the cornerstone of a long MEX, short yen, long MEX, short Swiss, what we call a carry trade
Right.
in the currency market. So it's threatening here to have a significant break on the upside for the dollar.
Could you walk our viewers through what that is, a carry trade? Because everybody heard about it, especially with the Japanese yen, but I don't think a lot of people really do understand what it actually means.
Sure, it's a again, if you step back and look at each country as an investment opportunity, the U.S. dollar. You have dollars and you can go into the U.S., buy stocks, bonds, real estate, money markets. You can put your Likewise, if you want to go to Japan, you got to go into the yen. So the way a large um, player would look at the world is the yen was a 0% currency.
Right.
That's the interest rate. And the US is a 5% interest rate at some point, right? So you go into Japan and borrow yen and then take the yen, sell the yen, and buy the dollar. So now you have a short yen, long dollar based on this loan that's 0%. Now, if the dollar goes up in value, you'll get an appreciation in the
Right.
dollar rate. When that loan matures, if you went in at 120 and the dollar is at 130, you have just essentially had a tremendous profit in your dollar yen position. But also, the dollars that you owned, if you parked them in a money market and got 5% interest or 4%, when you repay your 0% loan, you have a net 4% gain in just holding and doing nothing with it.
Right.
And you got a dollar appreciation. So that's a carry trade. You turn your loan back to zero and you're left with a 4% gain in interest rates and plus a market gain in your dollar exchange rate. And that's a carry trade. Now, the problem happens when the currency rate suddenly moves against you.
Right.
So in that case, dollar yen went from 160 down to 130. So that's, a 25%
Same.
decline.
Yeah.
That then offsets that interest rate gain. So you've got to get out and trade out of that currency. And that's where the illiquidity can come in and you can get these accentuated moves in the currency markets. Very similar in the MEX. If you look at a MEX chart, you can see how sharply it began to move higher
Yeah.
when the dollar yen dropped lower because they were squeezed on both sides of that
Sides.
carry trade.
Yeah, that. Thank you so much because people we see it all the time in CNBC and in all the newsprint, but a lot of people don't understand the trade, and some even leverage it more than and don't just take a simple guaranteed yield of a money market. They're investing in stocks and options using those dollars, and that's when you really get into a leverage position that can backfire, as we saw with Melvin Capital and some of the others over the years.
Right. If you don't have an active currency hedging in place, you could get burned big time. But you're right. If you just took away just the interest rate and expanded, let's say you loaned, took a loan in yen, sold it, bought dollars, 3 years ago. Okay, so you have 0% interest rate, and you took that dollar now that your yen loan is in dollars, and you took it and invested in Nvidia, and you bought
Right.
Nvidia at 150, and you wrote it up. You could have written it up into the 800, 900s before its 10-for-1 split, which many of these hedge funds did as well.
Did. Right.
So there's many ways in which to expand it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even realize too that a lot of these hedge funds and private equity people also make decisions what stock market they use to purchase it. We're not the only stock market. So some of these stocks, maybe they're buying them in Canada because they think the Canadian dollar is, again, a better place to park their money, or that their appreciation there works. I never really realized that until I saw that on a show the other
I
day.
think I just lost you there, Howard. I can't
Oh,
hear you talking.
can you hear me now? Maybe they're buying them in Canada because they think the Canadian dollar is, again, a better place to park their money. I hear you don't hear me there, Steve? I never really realized that until I saw that on a show the other day.
Well, I turned you on my computer, Howard, so I can hear you in the background. So I'll try to just finish up a little bit. The currency markets are a great avenue in which to expand, but you've got to be very careful in that situation.
For sure. Can you hear me now, Steve? Can you hear me now? No? It looks like I've lost our man, Stephen Flanagan, here, so I will take us out. I apologize for the technical difficulty here. Not sure what happened, but we will catch you tomorrow at 9 a.m. We are back at noon with Agnieszka Woods, and then I'm back at 1 o'clock with Scott Bauer. So thank you very much, Stephen Flanagan, for joining us today, and we appreciate all of your help. We'll see you again soon.